Hi, my name is Caroline Nyaboke, and I welcome you to the Koinned podcast, where we create excitement around entrepreneurship, innovations, and startups. And in this season, we've been focusing on beginnings. And on this specific episode, I'd like us to talk about some leadership traits that you need as you begin your business. Hi, Mitesh.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. It's a great day.
Yeah. So I think what I'd like to point out as you're starting is doing business is taking a risk, yeah? Like everything else ideally in life, it's just taking a risk. And as you're starting your business, you need to have courage. I think that is the first trait that I'd like to talk about today, that when you're starting a business, you need to have the courage to actually put yourself out there and be willing to fail. Yeah, because as you're beginning, you're weighing, you have capital, you have this money that you've taken from the bank or that you have borrowed a friend, and you're asking yourself, what do I do? What do I invest in? And whatever you're investing in, ideally, it is a risk. It carries a particular level of risk. It might be, the levels of risk might be different. Say, for example, in construction, in other industries, it might be different. And you might be a bit afraid to go into that particular business, for example, maybe construction or real estate, for different reasons, maybe because of stories that you have heard from other people of how they've been duped or how they've lost money in that specific business. So as you're starting your business, you need to be courageous enough to take that risk. Yeah, Mitesh, what do you think about this?
Well, there's problems everywhere. Whichever industry you go to, there'll always be a problem.
Truly.
There's no industry that is 100% fantastic. In the construction industry, you might need a lot of approvals and there's a lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
In the marketing industry, I can tell you there is a lot of not knowing things because these systems were not made with Kenyans in mind. They were made with the American viewpoint and the Western world viewpoint.
Yeah.
In other industries, getting money from your clients is very hard. So there is no industry that is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The only way to gain the right courage is to know what you're getting into. Do your research before you get into the business and know what you're getting into, know the kind of problems you'll get into. Knowing what the problems are in the industry, if you still take in the step to go for it, that's the true courage.
Yeah.
You need to show that not just to yourself, but to your customers, because they'll be that first client you have. And that first client, we have never interacted with a client before, and here is your first one. The client knows I am your first customer. You need to display that courage, especially for a continuing business, when you'll be dealing with the client more than once. For retail, maybe you sell them something and the transaction is over. But for continuing things, for some services, you always need them back. So you really need to show the courage that I exist, I know what I'm doing, I have figured it out, you've paid me and I will do the work for you the way you need it done.
Yeah.
That kind of courage, it's not about just having it within you, but it's a way of expressing it. Some startups even need a team, right? A team of 3 or 4 people. You as the founder or the owner or the CEO need to show that courage to your team as well. Things may be on fire, you may be, almost bankrupt, but you need to show that courage. There is a saying that says running a business is like riding a bicycle, except the bicycle is on fire, the wheels are upside down, and you're in hell. So it's something of that sort. Everything is going to be chaos, but you need to display the right sense of courage.
Yeah, and I think what you have brought out is the fact, this is a fact, because no industry is like 100% safe. Okay, different industries have different levels of risk, but just as we say in financial management, the risk is equal to the reward. High risk, high reward, You need to be ready to take that risk as you're beginning your business. But as you have pointed out, the fact you can reduce that risk by doing getting information, doing even investment appraisal, feasibility studies, just to know what is the level of risk, what are the exact risks in that industry or in that business. It can reduce the level of risk. You can even use insurance or other ways of reducing this risk. But ideally, you need to get over that fear of, like, will it work? You know,
Yeah.
you need to get over that before you actually start. You know, when you want to start a food business, just do your market research, gain information, but get over the fear of, will it work? Am I wasting money? You know, will this work? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 1,000 things will go wrong, but you need to know what will go right, and you
Yeah.
need to have a plan for the 1,000 things that will go wrong. Actually,
Truly.
where I used to stay before, we used to stay in some apartments, and there used to be a DJ over there, and the DJ had a very old car, a very old Volkswagen, and every week he used to keep repairing it. And I was a young person at that time, younger than I am now, of course. And I'm saying I'm old right now, but I used to be playing outside, and I would be looking at him, and my brother would be looking at him, and he would look at us and say, everything that is meant to get spoiled will get spoiled. So just face the fact, be ready for the things that can go right, and have a plan for the things that can go wrong. I think that's part and parcel with courage, knowing how to fix things when they go wrong.
Yeah, and unless it's like pioneering, like you starting something that has not been there before, there are people who have gone ahead of you. You can even look for people to tell you about their experiences, how they failed, whether they failed. And I think also courage comes in where you have to go against negative vibes. You know, I hope my mother does not see this episode, but my mother is those kinds of people. When you want to invest your money in something, she's like, she feels like you're wasting money. You know, she feels like unanunua na hutatumia. You know, I wanted to buy a sewing machine to learn how to sew, but sasa my mom was like, unanunua itakaa tu kwa nyumba, utafanya anything nayo. And then she went ahead to give reference to the things I have bought and I don't use, you know. Like ulinunua kitu ya kushona mats, ushonangi mats, no, unaona. So you need that courage to go against even those, you know, negative vibes. And unajua some of these negative comments or negative attitudes are very like prominent in some industries, like on the construction industry, especially in Kenya, which is known for a lot of like shady dealings. Like, you know, there are stories of many people who have invested their money in the construction industry and it has not yielded fruit. It has gotten lost in that industry. I won't mention specific industries because they are known ideally. So there is this story of this lady who was an air hostess, and it's by Abel Mutua on YouTube. And he talks about this lady who invested in real estate in Kenya. She went to this first company, akaweka pesa, but then it didn't yield fruit. Like ilipotelea hivyo. She went to this other company, did the same, and it didn't yield fruit, you know. And you know, there is only much you can do. You can try to sue and everything, but when money is lost, it's lost, you know. And so there is a lot of negative comments and attitude towards the construction industry, like investing in it. But you find that there are also good construction companies where you can invest and you can get very good returns. So you need the courage to go against this, you know.
Yeah, definitely. But apart from the courage, you also need to be doing the right market research, obviously. I mean, if you have your money lost twice, then having courage to show up the third time is going to be difficult. But, you know, sometimes it's like when you've lost money thrice, when you make money the fourth time, the returns will be so great that they will cover the past 3 losses and hundreds of other losses before, because the return is going to be so great if you use that courage on the right place.
Yeah, but I think you're supposed to be careful against the sunk cost fallacy of just investing in something which is sinking, you know.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you have to be there for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it even takes going against statistics, you know. As much as statistics, I know you are a student of statistics, you probably believe in the numbers, but you know, there are people who actually make it against all odds, you know, against the statistics and all.
Yeah, then, you know, where the equation does not balance with numbers, that factor is called courage, I believe.
Yeah. And I think courage is not only in doing all these things, but in also asking for assistance. You know, as you're starting your business, you're here, you don't know how to, like what we were saying, doing marketing, you don't know how to do this and that. But you need to gain that courage to walk up to people and tell them, I need help with this and this. I don't know how to do this and this. And sometimes it can be hard, especially when you're new to this and you have to be vulnerable enough to tell people, sijui kufanya hii, na sijui kufanya hii, so please come in and help me do this and that.
Yeah, asking for help is never going to be wrong. People are afraid to ask for help because it'll feel as if they've become inferior all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I have experienced it. Why
Yeah.
would I lie? Sometimes you go to someone and say, how do you do this? And they say, but I thought you were the expert in this.
Yeah.
But I am, but I don't know, right? There, you can't know everything.
Truly.
So there's always going to, don't be afraid to ask for help. And I think it comes hand in hand with always have a mentor by your side. Have someone who knows, who's maybe 2 steps ahead of you, and he's in the same line of work. Maybe he could be in a different line of work, or she, and they are in a place that is much higher than you. Have them as a mentor. Feel free to ask. Sometimes you can even ask help from someone who is much older than you.
Yeah.
I know there is this light trend, I can call it, that is happening around Facebook, where many old people are the ones that use Facebook, and the younger generation shifts to Instagram, which is something we as a company capitalize on by showing ads that are meant for older people more on Facebook than on Instagram and the likes. But that, brings me to my point that there are some times where your parent might know more about Facebook than you do on certain features. So you can be lost on Facebook and doing something and you don't know how to recover, but your dad had been through that before. Your mom had been through that. So it's not going to be embarrassing for you going to them to ask them, how do I fix it? They may tell you, you're from a younger generation and you're asking me how to fix Facebook.
Yeah.
But they know it. Don't be afraid to ask. Even if they tell you that, just ask. I mean, don't listen to the negative input that people put on you.
Yeah, I think I've been in the same position where I asked someone to help me learn how to do something, and they were surprised because I was working. I had an attachment in a company that specialized in that. So they were like, you don't know how to do. And at the end of the day, they didn't even show me how to do it, and I was really heartbroken, and my ego was bruised, but then again I was like, okay, I have to learn it whatever way. So I went on other platforms, reached out to other people who are willing to help, and they helped me. And I think aside from courage, you also need the confidence to not only believe in your idea, but believe in yourself as a person. Sometimes it can be hard to, especially if you have had failed businesses or other failed projects in the past, it can be hard to believe in yourself. And it can be hard to believe in your idea if you don't have other people backing you up. But you need to gain that confidence,
Very true. Confidence is something that can actually bring you from a lose situation to a win situation. It could be a situation where there are 2 people. Let's say 2 people walk into a room. One is a genius at what they're doing, and one is mediocre at what they're doing. But the genius is very timid, low-spoken, and the person who's mediocre at it is very confident. So the moment they walk into the room, there is like an aura of confidence blowing all over them, the way they walk in, the way they've dressed. And I can guarantee you it is highly likely that that person will get what he wants over the person who is timid but smart. And so I'm not saying that you should pick that person, right?
Yeah.
But it's a human factor. When you radiate confidence, things just seem to happen. Confidence is basically pretending to know the things even when you don't know. When you don't know things, when you know things are not working, you're pretending that you know what you're doing. I think that's confidence. And if you have that confidence, it plays a big role in personal motivation and team motivation as well, in the situation where you have other people you're working with. Having the right amount of confidence, there's a right amount of confidence. You can talk about overconfidence and underconfidence. Don't, just walk into the room pretending you know everything. Accept you don't know some things.
Yeah.
But accept that there are some things you know a bit, and, show off the right way. You may not know a certain element of it, but you know a lot more about the other elements. So focus on those sides. Show that confidence over, but don't portray yourself as overconfident, because then that loses a bit of trust and credibility.
Yeah, I think just exactly as you have said, confidence for me is putting aside like the self-doubt and the self-rejection and accepting the fact that, okay, I deserve to be here, even in this industry. And as much as I don't know everything, I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to like take this to the very end. And I have a friend who was telling me a story of another friend who applies for every job, literally every job, even out of his scope. He will apply, even if it's like the president was being applied for, he will apply, and he has done engineering. If it's in agriculture, he will apply. Because he decided he will never self-reject. Let other people reject him, but he will never
I think
reject
that's
himself.
a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Personally, the kind of exercise I use is something they call visualization. So, when you're walking in and you're about to meet potentially a big client, one that you'll never have walked, just close your eyes, feel the vibe and pretend you're there, pretend you got the contract, and then pretend you've made it, like you're sitting in a comfortable sofa somewhere on the Maldives, drinking a very expensive mimosa somewhere there. Just visualize it, experience how it'll go, experience you having a conversation with him, experience the celebration you'll have after you've had the conversation with the potentially new client. And don't just visualize the next 1 hour or the 1 week, visualize the next 10 years. Keep thinking. And this is not just about business, this is even if you're dreaming to be a footballer. Sometimes you just sit down and you visualize you carrying the World Cup trophy. If you're a business owner, sometimes you just visualize being on the Forbes top 50 list, right? Just visualize, imagine it, because that plays a key factor on how confident you are subsequently. That thrill of probably being on the world's biggest magazines, that's not something small. It'll keep motivating you, it'll keep giving you that confidence.
I think we were talking earlier today, and you told me about the health prize and how the finals are going to be in Paris. And I think for a moment there I envisioned myself there.
Exactly.
And my viteng is there, and everything. And I think, as you have said, it gives you confidence. But again, you have to admit that it can be a bit difficult, especially for people like us who are young. You will maybe go into an industry like construction where you will meet experts who are, most of them are like double your age, and most of them are not even of your gender, and you just have an imposter syndrome. You feel like, maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I should, go to maybe beauty or another space where there are more women or there are younger people. You will experience this imposter syndrome. But again, just as we have said, you need to give yourself that confidence. Puff yourself up, because no one will come to do it for you, ideally. People will even mostly discourage you and tell you, utatoboa, and everything. But you need to gas yourself and tell yourself, I deserve to be here. I have something to bring to table.
It's good to just imagine that same situation, but without any restriction, and then build the restrictions later. So if it was, for example, becoming the world's biggest fashion designer, think that you want to get there. Ignore every restriction that is on the way: age, gender, money, time, the country you live in, and then build those one by one. So I live in Kenya. How does that restrict me? Fine. How can I solve that? Move to the next one. I am very young. How can I fight that? So build those restrictions in your mind after you've already visualized going there, and that way you'll make sure that you don't, lose the vibe and the flow, and your dreams keep there.
I remember when I was finishing the university, I walked up to a certain professor of mine, and I asked him, how am I going to make it in the job market? Because I feel like applying for construction jobs online is a scam. Most people just go to site and everything and be like, give me an internship and everything. And he told me there is nothing people love more than a confident, especially woman. Walk up to that company. I've not applied this yet, but he was just walk up to them, tell them you want to be in that firm, you want to add value to them by playing this and this position. But I think confidence gives a whole new, outlook on someone, on something. It just makes the whole difference.
Even if you're introverted, doesn't mean you can't display confidence. You're introverted means you're very calm. You don't go or talk out to people much, and but that doesn't mean you cannot be confident, because within your own heart, within your own mind, within yourself, just feel confident and things will start happening.
Yes. And you can see confidence even from how someone carries themselves. It is not exactly even when they start to speak.
Correct.
And I think, as we have said, confidence is very, very important. And it even builds trust with the people you're interacting with. When I see that you're confident about who you are and what you're doing, I even trust you to take on that particular business. So when you have self-doubt and you go to a client and you don't seem like I also have an experience with this. a certain friend of mine told me to design for him something, and I was like, okay, I can do it. And I went home, designed, and when I presented to him, he really liked it. He felt like I knew exactly what I was doing, but that was not the truth. I didn't know exactly everything I was doing, but I seemed so confident with my ideas. He was like, yes, yes. And some of those things were not working.
Yeah.
Some of those spaces were not working. I was like, nenda kuresolve baadaye. But the fact that I was confident, he trusted me immediately. He was like, you know what you're doing. We are going with you.
Definitely. And as a young person, people say that being young, sometimes you lose some opportunities. I think when you show the right amount of confidence, they can put their money on their mouth. They can trust you. They can say, fine, let's try it out.
Yeah, sure. And as much as we have talked about courage and confidence, you also need commitment.
I mean, there can't be anything right without showing some commitment, right?
Sure, you need to show up. Like if it's a food business, you need to wake up every day, go to the soko, do this, do that. You need to, when the client tells you he needs that poster by the end of the week, you need to deliver,
Yeah,
you need to commit. Yeah.
If commitment means when you're a new business, you're not going to accept the fact that you will have some late nights, accept the fact that you will get some disappointed clients, accept the fact that you're not going to win in every situation, but you need to wake up every morning, you need to open that computer, you need to press those keys, and you need to keep moving. It's a situation where you need to, however many rejections you fail, if you believe in your idea, commit to it, go for it, don't stop.
Yeah, I think it's the discipline of you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's not a choice. Yeah. If you put it's a choice, today I might show up, I might not. Probably you won't make it. And the good thing about commitment, it produces consistency, ideally, It produces a lot of consistency. So when you commit to something, you're consistent in, for example, delivering. Delivery is very important, I know, in business.
Yeah.
That is how you build your client base. That is how you get references, when you deliver, and you deliver on time. And you can't do that if you're not committed and consistent.
The funny thing is, when you're taught business in high school or at university, you're taught the basics of business and you're working on whether to be self-employed or whether to the benefits of being a sole proprietor. Basically, they'll tell you one of it is independence. You can choose when to go to work and when not to go to work. I think that is the biggest lie I've heard, because as an entrepreneur, as a person who is running their own business, you have to go every day. The only kind of independence you get is choosing your working hours. You may decide to work very late till night or very early in the morning, but you have to be there. Especially when it's a small business. When you blow up, you can take as many vacation days as you want to. But the first days will be incredibly difficult, especially because of the fact that half the time you won't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And when you commit to it, it even takes away the laziness, because I did a business for a week with my youth group in church, and we were selling juice. We are producing juice, and so you realize that every morning you have to wake up at earlier than 5, because at 5 ideally you're supposed to be in the market. Mtoke market mwende mwanze kupeel, the fruits and make the juice. When you're done there, you just take it. You have to sell it, and at the end of the day, you need to make that considerable profit. So you just put away the laziness. You just decide you can't afford to be lazy. You'd rather close the business. So you need to commit to it, have that discipline of making it work. Yes.
Definitely. Commitment is one of the risks you need to take if you really need to make it. Commitment is going to be driven by your confidence, but the more confidence you have, the higher you're likely to have a greater commitment to it. But sometimes, you can just decide to give up. And when you decide that I need to stop, before you close that business down, just close your eyes and try imagine yourself again where you thought you would be when you started the business. And try keep fighting for why you started it.
Yeah, truly. And I think the last one that you're going to talk about is enthusiasm and positivity, which is very underrated. When you start your business, you need to have that psych. You need to have psych. You need to be your cheerleader, your everything. You need to give yourself psych like
You
every
do.
day for doing that business. If it is a service, you need to, have that good attitude every day, be happy, serve people. You need to really like push yourself and be positive.
Yeah.
When you start a business with the mindset, okay, siendi mbali sana, ama kitu ka hiyo, you're bound to fail. What you believe will happen, But when you start with a lot of positivity and be like, okay, this is going to work, and at the end of the month, I'm going to get that 100,000, or I'm going to get that thing that I have been hoping for. Yeah, I think it really adds to the whole thing.
Yeah, even if you're at the university, don't call your small business a side hustle.
Yeah.
Call it your business, because you really want it to expand. You really want to make money from it, even if it means you're selling, the most lowest profit margin item. Call it your business. Yes, you call it a side hustle because it's easier to reference to it, but it is your business. So have that enthusiasm, keep going. And it falls in line with confidence. Having enthusiasm is critical to showing that you can get stuff done. And it's kind of a motivational drive. Plus, in terms of positivism, surround yourself with people who are like-minded and they won't discourage you at every stop. You need people who will criticize you, but the people who criticize you will not tell you to shut down. They'll tell you, this is going wrong, or I don't think this is possible, but maybe you can see something else. They won't give you a solution, definitely. That's not their job. They're your friends. They're here to motivate you. So let them know. Criticism is important, but when you surround yourself with people with a lot of positivism, good vibes, people who are doing something in their life, that all builds to it. Even if they positively criticize your business sometimes, that's good for you. They might be your customers, so what they're saying makes a difference. So you just keep going and surround yourself with such great people, and you can go a long way in terms of that.
Yeah, and as much as criticism is good, at the end of the day, you need to realize that it's not the critic who counts. It is you who is actually doing the job.
Correct.
It's you who's like there doing all the work, And you need to avoid some negative vibes which are not taking you anywhere, negative comments here and there. Just shake them off. And you know what you're targeting, you know what your goal is, And sometimes it can be from your closest people, your closest friends and everything. Even maybe those who are married, your spouse, who thinks maybe you're not going very far.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to, say, if they keep pushing you down, you just need to imagine that amazing feeling that you will tell them when I made it,
Yeah.
I mean, we all have that auntie or that uncle who will say, ini nini unafanya, but it's upon you to get up from that.
Yeah. And you can also like attract a community that supports you.
Yeah.
A community of customers, of people who, and feedback is very important, you realize, in business. Always getting feedback, that is something I learned from the ALX program, that you need to constantly be getting feedback. As you're going to be using your emails, sending out to people, telling them about your products and everything. Also ask for feedback. Tell them, ask them, what do you want me to change about my business? And this can be also a source of motivation. When people appreciate, it feels so nice when you're doing a food business and people tell you, I love your food, I love your bags, they work for me, it is good motivation to know that people who are using your products
love them. That one comment can literally make your week.
Yes. So I think that is it for today, Mitesh. We have seen various personality traits or traits basically that you need as you're starting your business. You need to be courageous enough to take that risk, courageous enough to go against the statistics and against the odds, that are there in that market. But together with the courage, you need to do your market research, you need information, so that you need feasibility studies, investment appraisals to go with your confidence. It adds to your confidence because maybe you're getting into a market that is sure, you're getting into a business that you will not be duped. Yeah. So aside from confidence, from courage, we also saw confidence. Yeah, you need to believe in yourself and believe in your idea. We also looked at positivity and discipline and commitment that you definitely need when you're starting a business. Yeah. If you don't have self-discipline, no one will drive you.
I mean, self-discipline is something that you need not just in business, but in life. So.
Yeah, but it's not very common. You can be surprised. Most people need circumstances to push them. I was talking about the same with my sister the other day, and we were my sisters have been out of a job for quite some time. And I was like, if you guys, I have other cousins and everything who have kids, and they are their age. And they seem to be pushing themselves more kuliko my sisters. And I'm like, you guys, must you have a circumstance so that, it's us ladies who you need a circumstance so that it can push you, so that you can make those changes, make that money and everything. So you realize most people need something to push them. You have family, you have children, you have something that needs to push you. But that doesn't have to be the case if you have self-discipline and if you know exactly what you want. Yeah, and I think this one is mostly for the ladies, but I think it's also for guys. Because let me give this example. I went on a date with a guy, and I won't obviously mention his name. And he told me he needs a lady who will motivate him to do more, and he wants to be in a relationship so that he can have that motivation and even have kids so that they can motivate him to like have a house and everything. I was like, you can do that without
a spouse.
You should motivate yourself. I mean, I motivate myself to wake up every morning. What are you telling me? You need someone to motivate you, and that's just how you was out of the picture, because I feel like motivation should just be from you. Yeah. Self-discipline is something that everyone should have. You don't have to have a circumstance so that it can push you to make money, to grow in your business and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think that's it for today, but thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Mitesh, for joining us.
It's always great being part of the Koinned.
Yeah, thank you. Subscribe.